To our knowledge, no one has studied in depth the effect of the establishment of pregnancy help centers on abortion ratios over time. Nor has anyone looked at the role that the proximity of pregnancy help centers to women in need would play in those ratios. Again, the focus has been on the supply of abortion. Only in the last few years have those on the pro-life side recognized that it is pregnancy help that has reduced the demand for abortion. While we do not have a geographically limited, carefully designed study of pregnancy help and abortion ratios, we do have statistics from Heartbeat International on the increase by year in the number of pregnancy help centers across the country from 1971 to 2017. Pairing a chart of this data with a chart of the declining ratios is revealing. By 1980, 90 new centers had started. By 1986, that number had increased to 575, more than 5 times what it had been just 6 years earlier. After the explosive growth in centers, abortion ratios began falling at roughly the same rate for subsequent decades.
After we completed this video series, we did further research on Pennsylvania's data. Here we see the abortion numbers for Pennsylvania beginning in 1975. Notice how quickly they increased to 61,000 in 1980. The blue spots and lines show the opening of new pregnancy help centers. The numbers increased sharply for about 8 years and continue to do so, but on and off. Abortion numbers begin to fall as pregnancy help centers increase in number. They are stable when there are no new centers, but fall again when more centers spring up. Existing centers also establish satellite centers, not shown here.
There are 2 things that, to our mind, would account for the regularly declining abortion ratios over such a long period. One is increasing pregnancy help. The other is regret for a previous abortion. Many of the women who are involved in pregnancy help have themselves had an abortion and regretted it. We know that a significant minority of women have been wounded by abortion to the point that it has led to mental health problems and unhealthy behavior. As the years go by, the group has grown larger. It is possible that these women have an influence on others who have considered abortion, and that this too has helped to decrease abortion numbers. Another proof that demand for abortion, and not restriction of the supply, is driving down abortion numbers is the work of Vision for Life. Since 2010, we have been advertising pregnancy medical centers in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County. Abortion ratios dropped and have stayed at their lowest level since county numbers were reported in 1995. Birth rates have stayed stable, while declining 6.4% in the rest of Pennsylvania. This confirms that it is pregnancy help that has reduced demand for abortion. It also shows the power of advertising to save lives. It costs us about $42 to save a life. In America today, we are on the way from abortion on demand to no demand for abortion. We may never completely overcome the demand for abortion, just as laws have not completely overcome murder, theft, or drunk driving. But we are on the way to the goal. In this, we follow in the footsteps of 19th century reformers. Writer and researcher Marvin Olasky points out that it was chiefly pregnancy help that reduced 19th century abortion rates that were actually almost double today's. He writes, "Overall, as pro-lifers compassionately aided women at risk, the abortion rate declined dramatically from 1860 to 1910 and stayed relatively low until the current revolution of the 1960s sent the numbers soaring again. They concentrated on ways to provide women with compassionate alternatives to abortion. They were not laid low by a sense of failure when, despite their efforts, many unborn children died. They rejoiced that so many were saved." We are following in their steps. We are convinced that advertising pregnancy medical centers is the most effective way to reduce the numbers of abortions today. You can help. Your donation today will mean lives saved in the days ahead as our advertising makes more and more women aware that they can get help, that they do have a choice, that they can do the right thing, that they can have no regrets, that they can choose life. Will you join with us to see even more moms and babies saved?